Welcome back to the AI Breakdown. Today we are doing a deep dive on Time's AI 100. This is a list that Time magazine has curated of who they call the 100 most influential people in artificial intelligence. So what we're going to do today is look a little bit about how they categorize things, the way that they describe their methodology, any notable entrants to the list, any notable exclusions from the list, and overall what the response has been. If nothing else, lists are a great thing to debate, so this should be some good fodder for that. Now, let's talk first about what Time says about how they chose this list. They wrote, Time's most knowledgeable editors and reporters spent months fielding recommendations from dozens of sources to put together hundreds of nominations that we whittled down to the group you see today. Said their executive editor, we wanted to highlight the industry leaders at the forefront of the AI boom, individuals outside these companies who are grappling with profound ethical questions around the uses of AI, and innovators around the world who are trying to use AI to address social challenges. This group of 100 individuals, Time continues, is in many ways a map of the relationships and power centers driving the development of AI. They are rivals and regulators, scientists and artists, advocates and executives, the competing and cooperating humans whose insights, desires, and flaws will shape the direction of an increasingly influential technology. So, two takes right up front from me on this. One, you have to remember that lists like this are done because they are an extremely compelling form of content. This is not some mechanical scientific ranking of the exact 100 most influential people. This list is instead meant to be subjective, to have opinions. There is a sense among many that I've seen that if this list were a pure scientific exercise, it would basically be 100 researchers and developers, and that might be true, but that's clearly not what Time is talking about. They're talking about not only artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence in its societal context, and what's more, it's clear they are also trying to show a cross-section of the domains of human experience that AI will ultimately interact with and shape. The inclusion of the, quote, innovators around the world who are trying to use AI to address social challenges makes that goal of this list plain. So let's dig into the list itself and see how they broke it apart. The first category are leaders. And this, frankly, is the section of the list that probably has the greatest number of people that you would simply expect to be here. You've got Dario and Daniela Amodi, the CEO and president of Anthropic. You've got Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, Demis Hassabis, the CEO and co-founder of Google DeepMind. One thing that I was glad to see was a recognition of the importance of open source in the conversation, with the recognition of Clement Delange, the CEO and co-founder of Hugging Face. In their interview with Clement, he gives a strong, simple version of the argument that AI power concentrated in a small number of hands is more dangerous than OpenAI that is dispersed and available to many. He says, if you look at society, the biggest risk is actually to have power and understanding concentrated in the hands of a few, especially for a technology like AI, and especially if these organizations are not designed to cater for the public good. Companies might have good intentions, but they are private profit-seeking organizations by nature. If you look at long-term healthy development of the technology, we believe that more democratization creates more counterpowers and fewer risks, because it empowers and enables regulation. Regulators can't regulate something that they don't understand, that they don't have transparency into. Another person that you would expect to show up, and who indeed does, is Marc Andreessen, who serves here in many ways as representative of the accelerationist point of view. You can tell Time has a bit of a skeptical attitude towards Marc here. They write, unsurprisingly, Andreessen is selling a vision of the future in which he is heavily invested. They also point out, of course, Andreessen has also been wrong in the past. Andreessen Horowitz was one of the main drivers of a crypto bubble that popped last year. Bitcoin hasn't replaced cash, and Coinbase, a crypto exchange that Andreessen has heavily invested in, hasn't replaced banking, or at least not yet. Another investor that I thought was a notable inclusion was Daniel Gross. Daniel and fellow investor Nat Friedman this year announced Andromeda, which Time calls, quote, a mountain of cutting-edge chips weighing 7,255 pounds and costing around $100 million. Continuing, Time writes, the chips are wired together to form a giant compute cluster, to which Gross and Friedman trade access in exchange for equity in AI startups they judge to be promising, a move that other venture capitalists are considering aping. Basically, I think that this inclusion recognizes just how important actual access to compute is in the development of AI right now. And again, there are a lot more expected folks here. Kevin Scott, the CTO of Microsoft, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, etc., etc., etc. Now, what about the more nebulous category of innovators? This is certainly the category where more debate has come up, I think. This category includes numerous artists and musicians, including Grimes. Now, I saw a bunch of people basically saying, go home, Time, you're drunk, when they put Grimes on the Time 100 AI list, but I think this one kind of makes sense. Again, this is in the context of trying to help people understand the breadth of how this technology is starting to interact with and influence culture, as well as just the industry. And as the entire music space was freaking out about Heart on My Sleeve, Grimes ran in the other direction and actually came out and said that she would collaborate with anyone who wanted to train AI on her vocals and music and share royalties with them if she thought the songs were good enough. She even ended up creating an AI model of herself that people could use to make that process more easy. One inclusion that I think represents this idea of people using AI in the context of big problematic social issues is Nathaniel Manning, COO and co-founder of Kettle, which is trying to use AI to create what Time calls a more nimble insurance market. Basically, Manning and Kettle argue that the way that insurance works using models based on historical data doesn't make sense in the context of climate change. Time writes, in addition to historical data, Kettle is using satellite imagery, weather data, and machine learning technology to form what it says is a more accurate picture of the wildfire risks facing California homeowners. This allows the company to offer affordable insurance to homeowners in the state deemed risky by other insurers' methods, but relatively safe to Kettle. Time writes, the hope is that the method will create an insurance market that actually prices in climate risk, incentivizing people to move to safer areas. So again, the point is that when it comes to the next wave of AI models, it's very unlikely that what Nathaniel Manning thinks is going to shape what the big tech companies do and what you're using in a year or two. But here he represents the way in which an entire group of people are bringing AI into the climate conversation, and more broadly, other issues of social importance. The Shapers section is where policy lives. It features folks like Ian Hogarth, the chair of the UK's Foundation Model Task Force, who we actually just talked about in the brief today. It includes the heads of policy at companies like Anthropic and OpenAI, and it includes just one sitting US member of Congress, in this case Anna Eshoo. Now, given that Senators Richard Blumenthal and Josh Hawley are about to introduce comprehensive legislation, we're obviously going to have many more voices in Congress and the Senate when it comes to AI. But again, in many ways, this is a stand-in for all of those voices, right? And the fact that this has now become an incredibly important issue in Congress and the Senate. The Shapers section is also where folks who are involved in AI safety live. Tristan Harris, who's the founder of the Center for Humane Technology, and of course Eliezer Yudkowsky, whose essay in Time earlier this year was another pivotal moment in the rise of AI safety discourse going mainstream. Now, obviously things get a little blurry between these categories, given that Eliezer lives over in the Shapers section, but Geoffrey Hinton, who I think is most responsible this year at least for the rise of the AI safety discourse going mainstream, lives over in the Thinker section. Representing a very different set of thinking on the AI safety conversation is Jan LeCun, who is also a Turing Award winner, but who has called existential fears around AI as, quote, an apocalyptic cult. Now, one of the best questions that Time asked LeCun was, why do you think your viewpoint on this diverges so drastically from the other godfathers of deep learning, Geoffrey Hinton and Yoshua Bengio, both of whom shared the Turing Award with him in 2018? Jan said, Jeff believes LLMs are smarter than I believe they are, and he's a little bit more optimistic than I am about how they might get us to human-level AI. So he realized all of a sudden, quote, we need to worry about super intelligent machines, and if you have a more intelligent entity, it is going to want to take over the world. And I think that's just wrong. There's no correlation between being intelligent and wanting to take over. Even within the human species, it's not the most intelligent among us who want to be the leaders. In fact, it's quite the opposite mostly. The desire to dominate is really attached to species that are hierarchically organized and social. It's really a consequence of human nature and the fact that evolution built us this way. But orangutans, for instance, are not a social species and don't have any desire to dominate anybody. They don't need to. So we can be smart like orangutans without having any desire to dominate. Now, one of the things that I think is notable about this, aside from the unknowability of it, is the extent to which we're debating based on questions of human nature and evolutionary biology as much as current technology. More OpenAI folks show up in this category as well, including the co-leads of their super alignment team, Jan Leike, and co-founder Ilya Sutskever. And ultimately, there is only one sort of media creator-ish inclusion, which is Arvind Narayanyan. Now, these are a professor of computer science and one of his PhD candidates at Princeton, and they write a Substack called AI Snake Oil. They're basically warning against the hyperbole that is so profligate in AI-related media, and in so doing, I think, offer something valuable. It's something that I'm subscribed to for sure. Still, I hope that by next year's Time AI 100, maybe there will be more space for media creators who are not just outright skeptical, but who are still helping people navigate what is an incredibly important shift. Now, when it comes to Snubs, there is no doubt that the biggest disagreement was another OpenAIer, Andrej Karpathy. Pratik Desai tweets, "No Karpathy? Blasphemy." And almost 2,000 people liked that tweet. Former pharma exec who's now building an AI startup in the health field, Martin Shkreli, writes, "Useless list." Now, ultimately, again, I caveat this, and think you should too, with understanding that this is not just an intellectual product, but this is a content product. This is a list that's meant to introduce a very normie audience that reads Time magazine to a wide array of people in the AI space who are shaping the discussions. And frankly, I think in that they were successful. What's more, debate is very good for Time magazine as it just drives more attention and clicks. So by all means, keep debating. And if nothing else, recognize that the fact that this cover exists and that this list now exists suggests just how fast this technology has entered into the public consciousness. If you want to join the debate more directly, come on over to the AI Breakdown Discord. You can find it at bit.ly/AI breakdown, and you can share with our community all of the people that you think should be on this list, who you definitely think shouldn't, and how you would, of course, do it better. For now, though, I am going to wrap there. I appreciate you guys listening as always, and until next time, peace.